So we're at Manx Museum talking with Yvonne Cresswell, who are always fun and delight because she finds stuff in all sorts of places and we've never seen it before. But actually, seriously, this is an exhibition that hasn't been seen, I guess, like this.
I feel really privileged because during my time at the museum, I've actually done exhibitions on Archibald Knox. I've done a John Miller Nicholson exhibition, so I've now got the hat trick. I've now got the three greats, the great trio of artists on the island: John Miller Nicholson, Archibald Knox, William Hoggatt. Okay. So this is the first time that we've had a major exhibition of William Hoggatt's work.
And have you been down into the bowels to find everything?
In our beautiful art store.
Yeah.
A lot of paintings people will have seen in the art gallery over the years. So a lot of the work's been shown before, but with other artists. This is the first opportunity people will have had to actually see Hoggatt's work and the sort of, in a sense, almost sort of transition from early works, and then by seeing so many of his landscapes in one place, to actually see how passionate he was about the island. His attitude was there weren't enough lifetimes to be able to paint all of the scenes. And I think what it was about was he was fascinated not just by the light, and that's going from, you know, dawn to dusk, and he would be sort of out from first thing, sort of, you know, in sort of early sort of dawn light, all the way through sort of dusk, twilight. But it was also painting through the seasons, and that's what I love, is that you can sort of look at a painting and go, oh yeah, that's a summer scene, and then that one's spring or autumn. And he's fascinated just by the sort of the way the landscape is just constantly sort of changing in different colours, different lights.
Now, we claim him as ours in a sense, but he wasn't actually born here, was he?
No, I mean, he was referred to as almost a Manx artist, almost Manx. Yeah. But he was born in Lancaster, came here in 1907, and very quickly married a young lady who...
It says over there, eloped, by the way.
Well, this is quite fascinating.
Shock horror?
Yes. People always say that William and Dosine Hoggatt, they eloped to the Isle of Man to get married. I'm not 100% convinced you can call it elopement when, Miss Dosine Archer, then known as Miss Daisy Archer, actually had a leaving do at her local school, and there are pieces in the newspaper about the fact that she's getting sort of presents from the school and from her ex-pupils for when she travels to the Isle of Man and getting married and everything. So it's not quite sort of, I think,
not the scandal it could be then.
No, I think it's a story that actually has grown over the years because it sounds so romantic, and they were, I think that's the thing I love, is there was such a devoted couple, and we've got a photo, and the number of people who sort of said, oh, to have somebody look at you like that. And William is just looking at a Dosine with just, he's besotted. They are a besotted couple. They had a long marriage. And what's fascinating, and what I hadn't fully appreciated, was Dosine was very much not just his sort of supporter and the person who sort of allowed him to devote his life to art, but was also in a sense his manager, because she organised the framing of his work, actually sort of getting the work to exhibitions. And during the Second World War, it's Dosine who actually writes to Sir Kenneth Clarke at the National Gallery to try and get one of William Hoggatt's paintings exhibited in a British exhibition of what is basically sort of war art. Sadly, there's no reply, but we know that the painting didn't go on exhibition. But I've seen the letter that Dosine wrote to Sir Kenneth Clarke, sort of, promoting her husband's work.
Well, we've been looking at some of the exhibition here. It's opening on Saturday. For how long?
On Saturday, and it is open till January 26th. So a good long run, and an opportunity to sort of see the variety of work that he did, including some pieces from when he was in Lancaster, some pieces from when he was in Paris as an art student. And I think that's the thing, that people who have memories of William Hoggatt they remember an old man in a mac and a fedora.
He had a certain look there, didn't he?
Oh,
Very
yeah,
much.
there was very much sort of a look to him. But then you sort of look at the self-portrait we've got on display, which was done when he was in Paris. And he was a young bohemian artist. I mean, he's in Paris 1901, 1903. I found an exhibition in Paris that he exhibited at, which then gave his address. And basically he was living amongst all the young art students in Montparnasse. And this was decades before Montparnasse was the sort of artistic and literary sort of centre of Paris. It was basically when it was a cheap slum. And it's where you lived if you basically had no money, and the little money that you had, you could probably think of better things to do with it in Paris as a young man than spending it on rent.
Great. Well, congratulations on this. You're no doubt working on many other things right now, but there's always things to look at, right, for you?
Oh, yes. And what I'd like to say is if anyone's got any memories of William Hoggatt, please get in touch, because I sort of see this not sort of as an end in itself, but actually as an opportunity to discover more about William Hoggatt.
Let's find out if he did elope or not. Maybe somebody out there has some information. You know?
Yeah, I mean, so anybody who's got memories of William Hoggatt, you talk to different people and you hear sort of slightly different sort of stories about him. So the more stories that we can collect, the better.